inventor of the Super Soaker water gun worked for NASA. Who would have thought that Lonnie Johnson, the creator of the famous Super Soaker water gun, was an engineer at NASA? Johnson worked on developing advanced technologies for space missions, such as the Galileo project to Jupiter. But in his spare time, he developed toys, and one of his ideas became a global hit. The Super Soaker became an iconic water gun that kids around the world played with. This example shows that innovation can come from the most unexpected places, and an engineer's genius can create not only space technology, but also unforgettable childhood moments. It turns out that fireflies can control the brightness of their glow. The fireflies we marvel at on summer evenings actually have the ability to adjust the intensity of their light. This is due to a chemical reaction in their bodies that uses a substance called luciferin. They can change the brightness of their glow depending on whether they are attracting a mate or warding off predators. Imagine how useful it would be to not only have a built-in lamp, but to control its brightness. The oldest toy in the world is just a stick. Believe it or not, one of the oldest toys on Earth is simply a stick. For thousands of years, sticks have been used by people for all kinds of purposes, from simple play to the creation of complex tools. Children have used sticks in role-playing games, imagining them as swords, weapons, or magical wands. These simple yet versatile objects remain a staple in children's games even today. Their popularity is so great that in 2008, the United States even established a National Stick Day to celebrate the importance of the stick in toy history. Who would have thought that such a simple item could become part of our cultural heritage? How do you think chickens can sleep with their eyes open? Chickens have a unique ability called unihemispheric sleep, where one hemisphere of their brain can enter deep sleep while the other remains alert. This allows them to keep one eye open, monitoring their surroundings while the other half of their brain rests. This ability is crucial for their survival in the wild, where danger can strike at any moment. Imagine being able to nap while keeping a watchful eye out for predators. Chickens are true natural guards. It's a skill that makes them well adapted to a life full of surprises. Penguins propose with pebbles. Adelie penguin males don't just seek a mate, they stage a true romantic ritual in the icy vastness of Antarctica. When it's time to win over a female, the male carefully selects the smoothest and most beautiful pebble he can find and presents it to his chosen one as a symbol of his affection. If she accepts this gift, she's ready to pair up with him. This charming gesture has become a symbol of courtship among penguins, adding a touch of warmth to the frozen Antarctic landscape. Imagine if we replaced engagement rings with pebbles. Did you know that Tokyo has buildings that can grow? Tokyo has a construction technology that allows buildings to increase in height, even after completion. The foundation is reinforced so that additional floors can be added later. This saves space in the metropolis and adapts to changing demands. For example, the Mizushima skyscraper was built with 14 floors, but later grew to 20. Caffeine. Energy or illusion? Caffeine is the most popular psychoactive substance in the world, but it doesn't actually give you energy. Instead, it blocks adenosine receptors in the brain, preventing them from signaling tiredness. It's a kind of trick that makes your brain feel alert and awake. What's even more fascinating is that caffeine's molecular structure is very similar to that of adenosine, allowing it to take the place of this neurotransmitter. This clever process helps us wake up in the morning and stay alert throughout the day. Now imagine it's all just a game of chemistry. India has become the world's most populous country. In 2024, India surpassed China, becoming the country with the largest population in the world. According to recent estimates, India's population has reached 1,420,000,000 people, overtaking China for the first time. This demographic shift is significant not only for India, but for the entire world, as it influences global economic and social trends. By the way, projections indicate that India's population will continue to grow, peaking around 2064. Can you imagine that there's a village in Poland with upside-down houses? In the village of Szymbark, Poland, there's a unique house that stands upside down. It's not just an artistic installation, but a real tourist attraction that you can enter. The house was built as a symbol of the upheavals and changes that Poland experienced in the 20th century. Inside, everything is also upside down: the furniture, the stairs, and even the windows. Visitors who enter often feel slightly disoriented because the inverted space creates a dizzying effect. This place has become a tourist sensation and a must-see for anyone visiting the area. Can you imagine that trees can make it rain? Yes, trees not only produce oxygen but also help form rain clouds. This happens through a process called transpiration. When trees release water vapor through their leaves, the vapor rises into the atmosphere, where it condenses and forms rain clouds. This natural process shows just how essential trees are to maintaining the water cycle on our planet. Every forest is not only a source of oxygen, but also a key part of the water cycle, without which Earth would be a very different place. Eyes bigger than the brain. The amazing anatomy of ostriches. As strange as it may seem, ostriches have eyes bigger than their brains. These huge birds have the largest eyes of any land animal, with a diameter of up to 5 centimeters. But despite this, their brain is relatively small. However, thanks to their large eyes, ostriches can see far distances and detect danger long before it gets close. What incredible creatures ostriches are. Large eyes but a small brain that still manages to perform all the necessary functions. Did you know that we lose a total of 9 years of life on smartphone screens? Imagine this. According to research, the average person spends about 3 hours a day on their smartphone. Now multiply that over an entire lifetime. Let's say 72 years. It turns out that a whole 9 years of your life is spent staring at your phone screen. Can you imagine how much you could accomplish in that time? Traveling to new countries, learning multiple languages, or writing a book. There are endless possibilities. Next time you pick up your phone, remember, you have 9 years you could live differently. Olympus Mons is the largest volcano in the solar system. Olympus Mons, located on Mars, is the largest volcano in the solar system. It stands at a height of 21 kilometers, with a base diameter of 600 kilometers. This colossal mountain is so huge that if you stacked 3 Mount Everests on top of each other, they still wouldn't reach its summit. Olympus Mons is a true mountain of fire and one of Mars's greatest mysteries. Have you ever thought about the fact that you can see a double rainbow on Mars? Surprisingly, it's true. On Mars, you can sometimes witness not just one, but a double rainbow. However, these aren't the rainbows we're used to seeing on Earth. The Martian atmosphere is so thin that ordinary raindrops don't form, but rainbows can appear due to fine dust and ice crystals floating in the air. Even though there's no rain on Mars, these dusty rainbows look particularly mesmerizing. But if you want to see one, you'll have to wait. Martian weather phenomena happen very rarely. Did you know banana plants can walk? Banana plants may seem immobile, but in reality they can move. Of course, it's not the kind of walk we're used to, but banana plants do actually shift. Over their lifetime, they can move up to 40 centimeters, stretching their roots toward the sun. This movement is so slow that you can't see it with the naked eye, but if you could speed up time, you'd see the banana plant walking toward a sunnier spot to soak up more light. True sun lovers. Can you imagine a shoe the size of a car? In 2015, an Indian shoemaking company crafted the world's largest shoe, measuring a whopping 6.4 meters in length and almost 3 meters in height. This colossal shoe is the equivalent of a US size 2090 and was made from leather, rubber, and foam. It's hard to imagine anyone wearing it, but it's certainly a record-breaking feat of craftsmanship. Did you know that in China there is a living bridge entirely made from tree roots? In China's Guizhou province, there is a unique bridge created not by humans, but by nature itself. Local villagers directed the growth of tree roots in such a way that they formed a sturdy bridge capable of holding the weight of several people. This process took decades, and now the bridge has become a symbol of harmony between people and nature. Scientists consider it one of the most outstanding examples of natural architecture, and it is still used by locals to cross rivers and streams. Did you know that the world's longest hair measures over 18 feet? A Chinese woman named Xi Quping holds the Guinness World Record for the longest hair, which measures a staggering 5.62 meters. That's about 18 feet and 5 inches. She began growing her hair at the age of 13 in 1973 and hasn't cut it since. Taking care of such long hair is no easy task. She spends hours every week washing it, and at least 2 hours just combing it. Sometimes she braids her hair or wraps it around herself to make moving easier. This record has remained unbeatable for decades. Believe it or not, birds can talk. Many species of parrots can mimic human speech, but not because they understand words. They memorize the sounds and rhythms they hear and repeat them with surprising accuracy. Moreover, some parrots can remember and reproduce dozens of phrases and even sing tunes. This ability has made them popular as pets, as they can mimic entire sentences from their owners, adding funny and sometimes unexpected elements to conversations. The world's shiniest fruit. Meet the African pollia. Believe it or not, the shiniest living organism on Earth is not a gemstone or an exotic animal, but the African fruit Pollia condensata. This vibrant blue fruit with an iridescent sheen has a unique ability to reflect light. Its outer surface reflects light so intensely that it appears to glow from within. Scientists are studying this phenomenon to better understand how such a structure can be created in nature. This fruit has become a true mystery for botanists because its glow is caused by microscopic cell structures that reflect light like diamonds. No wonder it's considered one of the shiniest things on Earth. Why did the famous bridge in Venice almost sink? The Rialto Bridge is the oldest and one of the most recognizable bridges in Venice. It began to sink shortly after its construction in the 16th century. Venice itself is subject to constant flooding, so the bridge has gradually sunk over time. Engineers have conducted numerous restoration works to preserve it, but Venice still faces the threat of sinking, and the Rialto Bridge serves as a reminder of the fragility of this magnificent city. The shortest war lasted only 38 minutes. In 1896, a war broke out between Britain and the Sultanate of Zanzibar, which became the shortest in history. The conflict began when the Sultan of Zanzibar refused to comply with British demands. Britain sent warships into the harbor, and within 38 minutes of intense bombardment, the Sultan surrendered. During that time, the British ships destroyed the Sultan's palace and his fleet before installing a new ruler who supported British interests. This record for the fastest war conclusion has never been broken. The Royal Game of Ur is the oldest board game, over 4,000 years old. This ancient game was discovered during excavations in Mesopotamia and dates back to around 2600 BCE. Played by 2 players on a 20-square board, the game involved strategic moves with pieces that maneuvered around obstacles. It had a major influence on the development of future board games, demonstrating the strategic thinking of ancient civilizations. Just imagine how deep-rooted our love for games really is. Can you imagine that in Colorado there's a town where it's illegal to die? In the town of Nederland, Colorado, there's a strange and even absurd law. You can't die in the town. This law stems from a local history involving attempts to preserve a man's body in a frozen state. Now the town has declared itself a territory for immortals, and locals jokingly claim that they're simply not allowed to die. Of course, the law isn't enforceable, but many people visit Nederland to laugh at this odd tradition and learn about the story of the frozen, eternal resident. Is it possible? The moon is gradually drifting away from Earth. The moon is slowly but surely moving away from Earth at a rate of 3.8 centimeters per year. This process is caused by tidal forces between Earth and the moon, which slow Earth's rotation and gradually widen the moon's orbit. This cosmic waltz has been going on for billions of years. Interestingly, in the distant future, the moon may become so far away that it will no longer appear as bright from Earth as it does now. Is it true that there is a bridge in China that only glows during a full moon? In Guizhou province, there is a bridge called the Moonlight Bridge, which becomes visible only under the light of the full moon. This bridge is made from a special material that reflects moonlight, creating the illusion that it glows in the dark. Tourists plan their trips around full moons just to see this unusual phenomenon. The architects who designed the bridge were inspired by ancient Chinese legends of moon spirits, and now this bridge has become one of the most romantic spots in the region. Did you know that the first blogs appeared just a quarter of a century ago? It's hard to imagine the internet without blogs today. But did you know the first use of the word blog was recorded only in 1997? The term was a contraction of weblog, literally meaning internet diary. Back then, blogs were simple online journals where people shared their thoughts and experiences. However, as with everything on the internet, blogs evolved. Today, they cover everything from personal notes to global news, professional advice, and guides on any topic. They have become a powerful tool for self-expression, communication, and even business. Can you imagine that what started as a hobby has grown into a way to shape public opinion and the flow of information? How would you react if you found out that snails can sleep for up to 3 years? Some species of snails can enter a deep sleep called estivation to survive harsh conditions like extreme drought or lack of food. During this time, they slow down almost all their bodily functions and seal themselves inside their shells with a protective layer. This state of dormancy can last for up to 3 years, allowing them to wait out unfavorable conditions until the environment becomes more hospitable. It's like going to sleep and waking up years later, only to find that the world around you has changed completely. Is it possible that sharks don't get cancer? Sharks are considered some of the most resilient creatures on the planet, and their unique regenerative abilities protect them from many diseases. Although sharks can get cancer, it happens very rarely because their immune system is extremely strong. Studying shark tissues has helped scientists better understand how to fight diseases and prolong human life. These ancient predators hold many secrets, and their bodies inspire breakthroughs in medicine. The secret of the Great Wall of China. Sticky rice. The Great Wall of China is one of the most impressive structures in the world. But did you know that its durability is thanks to sticky rice? Ancient builders used a mortar mixture containing this rice to bind the stones together. This unexpected culinary ingredient played a key role in strengthening one of the world's greatest wonders. It's amazing to think that something as simple as a kitchen ingredient helped build such a monumental structure. Clouds are heavier than you think. Ever wonder how much clouds weigh, even though they float so gracefully across the sky? Well, a typical cumulus cloud weighs about 500,000 kilograms. That's as much as 100 elephants. They might look light and fluffy, but they're carrying a huge amount of water. The next time you see clouds overhead, just remember the massive weight floating above you. Can you imagine that the moon is slowly drifting away from Earth? Each year, the moon moves about 3.5 centimeters farther away from Earth. This happens due to tidal interactions between the Earth and the moon. Billions of years ago, the moon was much closer, and in billions of years it may drift out of Earth's gravitational pull altogether. Though this process is incredibly slow, scientists track it using lasers and reflectors left on the moon by the Apollo missions. Is it true that the Olympics once included art competitions? From 1912 to 1948, the Olympic Games did indeed award medals to artists, composers, sculptors, and architects. During this era, art competed alongside sports, and medals were awarded for artistic disciplines such as sculpture, painting, music, and even architecture. This blend of sports and art symbolized that physical strength and creative talent could go hand in hand. Although there is no art segment in the Olympics today, this part of history evokes admiration and nostalgia for a time when artistic achievements were recognized on par with athletic feats. Did you know that wild bananas are full of seeds? Most people imagine bananas as sweet, soft fruits, but it turns out that wild bananas are quite different. They are literally packed with large seeds, making them extremely inconvenient to eat. The bananas we enjoy today are the result of selective breeding, which has made the seeds almost invisible. Imagine, without human intervention, bananas would be a completely different fruit, and eating them would be far less enjoyable. There's a white giraffe in the world, and it's not a fairy tale. In Africa, a unique white giraffe was discovered, suffering from a rare genetic condition known as leucism. Unlike albinism, leucism allows the giraffe to retain pigment in its eyes, but its skin lacks color. This rare giraffe has become a subject of intense focus and was even equipped with a special tracker to protect it from poachers. Its snow-white color makes it vulnerable but also a unique creature in the wild. The first computer mouse was made of wood. In 1964, Douglas Engelbart invented the first computer mouse, and it was made of wood. This device, with 2 metal wheels, revolutionized how humans interact with computers. Today, modern mice are much more advanced, but that wooden mouse remains a landmark in computer history. It's interesting that Tokyo has no street addresses. In Tokyo, addresses are assigned not to streets but to buildings, which is very unusual for a large city. Buildings are numbered in order of construction, not by their location on a street. This means finding the right address for the first time can be challenging if you're not familiar with the area. Instead of streets, residents and visitors orient themselves by metro stations and districts, giving Tokyo a unique charm and character. Who would have thought that you can see sounds through light? Sounds can not only be heard but also seen. Using special equipment like oscilloscopes, scientists can visualize sound waves, turning them into light pulses. These pulses take on different shapes depending on the frequency and intensity of the sound. The sight is incredible. High frequencies appear as fast, thin lines, while low ones as slow, broad patterns. Technology allows us to see music and sounds, adding a new dimension to how we perceive them. Who would have thought that jellyfish are 95% water? Jellyfish are almost ethereal in appearance, and no wonder, 95% of their bodies are made of water. This high water content allows them to float gracefully through the ocean, moving with the currents as if weightless. Despite their simple structure, jellyfish have existed for hundreds of millions of years, perfectly adapted to life in the ocean. Their delicate watery forms remind us of the fragility and beauty of marine ecosystems. Did you know there's a basketball court on top of the U.S. Supreme Court building? Yes, you heard that right. At the very top of the U.S. Supreme Court building, there's a basketball court known as the highest court in the land. It's a place where judges and court staff can relax and play basketball between hearings. Imagine, after making important decisions, the justices can shed their robes and shoot some hoops, trading legal arguments for basketball shots. It's a truly unique combination of law and sport. Did you know one lightning strike could toast 100,000 slices of bread? A single lightning strike can generate enough energy to toast about 100,000 slices of bread. This figure highlights the colossal power of lightning and its ability to generate incredible amounts of energy in just fractions of a second. Next time you see lightning, imagine how powerful nature is, not only booming thunderously but also capable of powering an entire electric grid. Nature continues to astonish with its immense potential. Imagine a hybrid of a cow and a bison. It's a beefalo. Yes, there exists a unique hybrid of a cow and a bison called a beefalo. These animals combine the traits of both cows and bison, and they are known for their impressive hardiness. Beefalos can be found in certain regions of the United States where they have become agricultural stars. They are bred as a more resilient alternative to traditional livestock, being better suited to harsh conditions. Imagine, you're on a stroll and come across this amazing creature that looks like a mix of the majesty of a wild bison and the domesticity of a cow. A true wonder of nature, brought to life by genetic experimentation. Why do some old clocks have one number written incorrectly? If you have ever looked closely at the dials of old clocks, you may have noticed that the Roman numeral for 4 is often written as Th instead of the standard IV. The reason for this lies in historical traditions. Roman craftsmen believed that Thurs looked more symmetrical on the clock face and was easier to recognize by the eye. This rule has carried over from ancient times to modern antique clocks, preserving its incorrect beauty. How would you like to visit the world's most isolated island? Tristan da Cunha is the world's most remote inhabited island, located in the southern Atlantic Ocean. It lies about 2,400 kilometers from the nearest mainland. Around 260 people live on the island, most of whom are descendants of British settlers and shipwreck survivors. Tristan da Cunha has no airports, hotels, or restaurants, and the only way to reach it is by boat, on a 6-day journey from South Africa. Cows have a phenomenal sense of smell. Cows can boast an extraordinary sense of smell, capable of detecting scents from up to 6 million meters away. This means a cow can sniff out fresh grass or a water source from miles away. This sensitivity helps cows navigate their surroundings, find food, and avoid danger. But their sense of smell isn't just about finding food. It also helps them recognize their calves and even other herd members. This ability underscores how important the world of scents is to them, and how closely they are connected to the natural environment. The elephant trunk trick. 40,000 muscles in one nose. Yes, you read that right. An elephant's trunk contains about 40,000 muscles. That's more than the entire human body, and this is why an elephant's trunk is so incredibly versatile. With it, elephants can lift heavy branches, gently pick berries, drink water, make sounds, and even caress their young. But did you know that young elephants often suck on their trunks, just like children suck their thumbs? It helps them feel calm and secure, a true wonder of nature, such a complex and multifunctional organ like the elephant's trunk. It turns out Sudan has more pyramids than Egypt. When we think of pyramids, Egypt is the first place that comes to mind. But here's a surprising fact. Sudan actually has more pyramids than Egypt. Egypt has about 138 pyramids, while Sudan boasts a whopping 255. These ancient structures, though less famous, represent a treasure trove of history yet to be discovered. If you love pyramids and ancient history, Sudan could be your next big adventure. Lakes underwater? Yes, they exist. It's hard to believe, but there are lakes under the water. They are called brine pools, or underwater lakes, and they can be found on the ocean floor. How is this possible? It's all about the high salt concentration in these lakes, which makes the water inside them much denser than the surrounding seawater. These salty pools can look like real lakes, separated from the surrounding water, and sometimes unique life forms can be found in them, adapted to these extreme conditions. This is one of the amazing phenomena of our planet, which looks like something straight out of science fiction. Amazingly, octopuses have 3 hearts. Octopuses are fascinating creatures with 3 hearts. One pumps blood to the body, and the other 2 pump blood through the gills. Moreover, their blood is blue because it contains copper instead of iron. This makes octopuses not only mysterious, but also some of the most unique creatures on Earth. It's hard to imagine that nature could create such amazing beings with such a unique system. Incredible but true. The Arctic tern takes the longest journey on Earth. Every year, the Arctic tern embarks on an extraordinary migration from the Arctic to Antarctica and back, covering up to 70,000 kilometers. This incredible bird follows the sun, living in perpetual summer as it flies from one pole to the other. The Arctic tern's migration is the longest of any animal, showcasing not only its endurance but also its remarkable navigational skills. It's a testament to nature's astonishing adaptability and the lengths some creatures will go to survive. Cleopatra. Closer to us than to the pyramids. Cleopatra, the famous Egyptian queen, lived closer in time to us than to the construction of the pyramids. Her reign ended in 30 BC, while the Great Pyramids of Giza were built around 2600 BC. It's mind-blowing to think that Cleopatra is closer in time to the modern world than to those ancient wonders she could have seen in her Egypt. This is a vivid reminder of how history can challenge our perception of time. Is it possible? There is a lake in Tanzania where no one swims. Lake Natron, located near the border with Kenya, is known for its extremely high salinity and alkalinity, which turns any animal that ends up in its waters into a mummy. Birds and fish caught in the lake literally turn to stone due to chemical reactions. Although it looks eerie, the lake's stunning red color draws tourists and photographers. Despite its beauty, locals and travelers never dare to venture into its dangerous waters. Can you imagine that some fungi control insects? Deep in the Amazon rainforest lives a fungus called Ophiocordyceps, which literally turns ants into zombies. The fungus invades the ant's body and takes over its mind, forcing it to climb up a tree before it dies. Then the fungus sprouts out of the ant's head and releases spores to infect others. It sounds like a horror movie plot, but these fungi really exist, and it's one of nature's most mind-blowing phenomena. Honey Guide, the bird that will help you find honey if you share it. Imagine being lost in the African wilderness searching for food. In this case, you'd need one special bird, the honey guide. This unique bird species can literally talk to you and lead you to beehives. But there's a catch. When the honey guide helps you find honey, it expects you to share it. If you don't, the next time the bird may lead you not to honey, but to something dangerous, like a venomous snake. So it's better not to be greedy. This is an example of true partnership between humans and nature. Believe it or not, the world's oldest musical instrument was made from vulture bone. The world's oldest musical instrument is a flute made from vulture bone, and it's 35,000 years old. It was discovered in a cave in Germany and serves as ancient evidence of early musical craftsmanship. The flute has 5 finger holes, hinting at its musical potential. This artifact shows that ancient people used music for rituals, communication, and entertainment, adding melodies to their daily lives. Goosebumps, an evolutionary artifact from our ancestors. Have you ever wondered why we get goosebumps? This phenomenon is linked to our ancient ancestors. Long ago, when humans and animals had more body hair, this reaction helped them appear larger and more intimidating to predators, while also retaining heat in cold weather. When tiny muscles at the base of hair follicles contract, the hair stands up, creating a fluffy effect. Today, goosebumps are a leftover from our evolutionary past, but they no longer serve the important function they once did. Nowadays, goosebumps are more often triggered by cold or strong emotions. So, next time you feel goosebumps, remember that they are a part of your ancient defense system. Did you know that turtles can breathe through their butts? Yes, you heard that right. Turtles, especially species like the Fitzroy River turtle, can breathe through their cloaca, the opening they use for reproduction and waste excretion. This amazing ability helps turtles absorb oxygen from the water, allowing them to stay underwater for long periods. This process is called cloacal respiration, and it's yet another example of how unique and diverse survival methods are in the animal kingdom. So next time you see a turtle, remember that it's a true master of breathing from both ends. Is it really possible that in Spain there is an underground city without a single house above ground? In the town of Setenil de las Bodegas, Spain, people live directly under the rocks, with their homes built into caves hidden beneath the earth. This town has existed for hundreds of years, and its streets are literally covered with giant rock slabs, creating the feeling of an underground world. The rock houses protect residents from summer heat and winter cold. Setenil de las Bodegas is so unique that tourists from all over the world come to see how life can exist in such a hidden and mysterious place. Why is there a village in Norway where it's Christmas every day? In the Norwegian village of Drøbak, a festive Christmas spirit lasts all year long. There's a Santa Claus museum, a postal service for sending holiday letters, and shops full of Christmas decorations. Even in summer, you can feel like it's winter, and the locals happily maintain this festive atmosphere. Tourists come here to experience a holiday wonderland, leaving with smiles and holiday cheer. Believe it or not, lasers can actually cool objects. While lasers are typically associated with heat, there are special lasers that can cool objects down to ultra-low temperatures. This process, called laser cooling, is used to reach temperatures near absolute zero. These technologies play a key role in quantum physics and are used in experiments with atoms and particles, leading to groundbreaking discoveries in science. Who would have thought that some jellyfish can live forever? The jellyfish Turritopsis dohrnii can revert from its adult stage back to its juvenile stage, avoiding death. It can regenerate its cells and rejuvenate, making it practically immortal. Scientists are still studying this phenomenon, but the potential of this process opens up incredible possibilities for research into cell aging and regeneration. If humans had this ability, we could avoid many diseases and extend life expectancy. How would you react if you found out that moving lakes exist in Kenya? In Kenya, there are unique salt lakes that change location depending on rainfall levels. These lakes can disappear for months, only to reappear in a new location after the rainy season. Researchers believe that the movement of water in these lakes depends on underground rivers and tectonic shifts. Such lakes create a unique ecosystem, attracting animals and birds that follow the water. Coca-Cola and its secret ingredients. The name Coca-Cola comes from 2 of its original ingredients, coca leaves and cola nuts, which were used to give the drink its distinctive taste and effects. The coca leaves provided a mild stimulant, while the cola nuts added caffeine. Today, the exact formula of Coca-Cola remains a closely guarded secret. Despite changes to the recipe, the story behind its creation and the brand's mystique continue to fascinate people around the world. Why can't ostriches walk backward? Despite their powerful legs, ostriches have one surprising limitation. They can't walk backward. Their joints and muscles are structured in a way that prevents them from moving in reverse. But these birds can reach speeds of up to 70 kilometers per hour, making them excellent runners capable of escaping danger in record time. Did you know that Scotland has 421 words for snow? In Scotland, the language is so rich in describing weather phenomena that they have as many as 421 words for snow. This discovery was made by the University of Glasgow as part of the Historical Thesaurus of Scots project. Some of these words are unique and sound quite unusual. For example, sneezel refers to fine rain or snow, and feefle means snow swirling in the wind. This vast vocabulary demonstrates how important snow and weather are in Scottish life. Hard to believe, but the sun makes noise and we can hear it. Although space is silent in the usual sense, scientists have found a way to hear the sun using special instruments. The sound of the sun is produced by vibrations on its surface and inner layers, caused by thermal processes. Scientists have converted these vibrations into sounds that we can hear. If you could listen to the sun, it would sound like a low humming noise. These solar vibrations help astrophysicists study the sun's internal structure, predict solar flares, and understand the processes happening in its core. Have you ever thought about how whales sing underwater? Whales produce sounds that can be heard hundreds of kilometers away underwater. These sounds help them communicate and find mates, even across vast distances. Whale songs can last for hours, and each one is unique like a fingerprint. These songs change over the years, making them not just a means of communication, but also a form of cultural heritage passed down through generations. Why do people love talking about themselves? Studies show that people spend about 60% of their conversation time talking about themselves, and on social media, this number goes up to 80%. This is because people enjoy sharing their thoughts, experiences, and personal stories. Especially in the age of social media, these platforms have become spaces for self-expression and connection. This fact provides an intriguing insight into human nature. The desire for communication and recognition. Why do flamingos stand on one leg? Flamingos can stand on one leg for hours, and while it may seem strange, there's a scientific reason. By tucking one leg under their bodies, flamingos conserve energy and retain body heat. This position also reduces muscle fatigue. Scientists even found out that flamingos can sleep standing on one leg without losing balance. Can you imagine being able to stand on one leg for hours? These birds are true masters of balance and relaxation. Photography, the art of stopping time. The ability to capture a moment on paper may seem like magic, but today it's a part of our everyday lives. The history of photography is filled with fascinating facts. The first attempts to freeze an image were made in the early 1800s by Thomas Wedgwood, but without success. Modern photography, as we know it today, became possible thanks to the experiments of pioneers like Joseph Nicephore Niepce and William Henry Fox Talbot. Their innovations forever changed the way we preserve and share memories. Ducks with superpowers, they have 3 eyelids. Unlike most animals, ducks have not 2 but 3 eyelids. Besides the usual upper and lower eyelids, ducks have a third transparent membrane. This extra eyelid helps sweep their eyes from the side, protecting them from dust and debris, and it also improves their vision underwater. Ducks essentially have supervision, allowing them to thrive in different environments. Can you imagine what it's like to have such an amazing eye shield? True superheroes in the bird world. Did you know that grizzly bears can run faster than horses? Contrary to the belief that bears are clumsy giants, they can reach speeds of over 50 kilometers per hour. That's faster than many horses. Grizzlies have not only powerful muscles but also incredible agility, making them fearsome predators. Their speed allows them to hunt successfully and protect their territory. So, if you encounter a bear in the wild, don't think you can outrun it. Better to keep a safe distance and admire its power from afar. Did you know the world's smallest dog weighs just half a kilogram? Meet Millie, a Chihuahua from Puerto Rico, who holds the title of the world's smallest dog. Millie is only 9.65 centimeters tall, or about 3.8 inches, and weighs around 500 grams, just over 1 pound. When she was born in 2011, she was so tiny that she had to be fed through a pipette. Millie has earned her place in the Guinness World Records as the smallest living dog, and her tiny size makes her a true star among dog lovers. Did you know the term internet was first used in 1974? We all know the internet is an essential part of modern life, but did you know the first mention of the word was in 1974? At that time, internet was used to describe a global network of interconnected computer systems. Back then, it was a novelty, but by the end of the 20th century, the internet became a revolutionary technology that changed the world. Today, billions of people are connected online, and the internet has become not just a communication tool, but also a key platform for business, science, and education. Why don't newborns cry tears? Newborn babies can cry, but they don't shed tears. How is that possible? Their tear glands are not fully developed. In fact, it can take several weeks for newborns to start crying with tears. So, while babies can loudly express their dissatisfaction, you won't see real tears until sometime after birth. This is one of the little wonders that happen in the first weeks of a baby's life. Is it true that ancient Egyptians used crocodile dung as a contraceptive? Yes, it's true. Around 2,000 years before Christ, women in ancient Egypt used crocodile dung as a method to prevent pregnancy. They believed this method would block sperm from entering. While this might sound strange and even risky from a modern medical perspective, people back then sought any means of birth control. This historical fact shows just how far humanity has come in the development of medicine. Thanks to modern research, we now have much safer and more reliable methods of contraception. How Albert Einstein inspired the character of Yoda. Did you know that the appearance of the legendary Star Wars character, Master Yoda, was partially inspired by Albert Einstein? The filmmakers used photos of the great scientist to give Yoda a wise and thoughtful look. Einstein's genius features, such as his wrinkles, pensive expression, and tired yet intelligent gaze, were the foundation for creating one of the most recognizable characters in film history. This fascinating fact shows how modern cultural icons can be linked to real geniuses of the past. The next time you watch Star Wars, remember that Yoda's wise look hides a bit of one of history's greatest scientists. Welcome to a town with a population of 1. Imagine an entire town with only 1 resident. Monowai, a small town in Nebraska, USA, has a population of just 1 person, Elsie Eiler. She wears many hats: mayor, librarian, and bar owner. This tiny town with a population of 1 is a unique place in the U.S. Elsie runs everything on her own, collects taxes from herself, and serves the few tourists who pass by. Monowai is a living example of a one-woman show, drawing attention because of its uniqueness and Elsie's story. Did you know that Alfred Hitchcock was terrified of eggs? Alfred Hitchcock, the master of suspense, terrified millions with his cinematic genius. But he had a peculiar fear himself. He was scared of eggs. Hitchcock admitted that just seeing a cracked egg filled him with dread. For a man who created films that left audiences on the edge of their seats, this phobia seems completely paradoxical. How could someone who made us fear shower curtains and shadows be afraid of something as ordinary as an egg? It's one of the more surprising secrets of the great master of horror. Can it be true that sharks never stop swimming even when they sleep? Unlike other fish, sharks don't have swim bladders, so they must keep moving to stay buoyant and breathe. Some sharks can enter a semi-sleep state where half their brain rests while the other half keeps them swimming. Thus, sharks literally swim their entire lives without stopping. Can you guess how big the world's largest slice of pizza was? In 2018, a New York pizzeria broke all records by creating the world's largest slice of pizza. This gigantic slice measured 2.4 meters in length, about 8 feet, and 1.2 meters in width, which is around 4 feet. It was so enormous that it could feed 20 people. The slice was topped with cheese and pepperoni, and was so massive that it needed a special truck and 2 people to transport it. A true epic feast for any pizza lover. Why is Venus hotter than Mercury, even though it's farther from the Sun? Despite Mercury being the closest planet to the Sun, Venus holds the title of the hottest planet in our solar system. Its surface temperature reaches 460 degrees Celsius, or about 860 degrees Fahrenheit. This is all due to its dense atmosphere, mostly made up of carbon dioxide, which creates a powerful greenhouse effect, trapping heat. Venus's atmosphere acts like a giant blanket, making it resemble an inferno even though it's farther from the sun. Did you know that Margherita pizza was named after a queen? Margherita pizza, one of the most popular types of pizza in the world, was named after Queen Margherita of Savoy, the wife of King Umberto I of Italy. Legend has it that the pizza was created to represent the colors of the Italian flag: red, tomatoes; white, mozzarella; and green, basil. This is not just a delicious dish, but also a symbol of Italian national pride and culinary tradition. So, the next time you order Margherita pizza, think about its royal origins. How about this? The discovery of DNA changed science forever. In 1953, scientists James Watson and Francis Crick made a revolutionary discovery when they presented the structure of DNA. This monumental achievement revealed the double helix structure of DNA, the very building block of life. Their discovery unlocked the secrets of heredity and laid the foundation for countless advances in genetics and medicine. It forever changed our understanding of life itself, paving the way for genetic therapies and innovations we use today. It turns out that hippos secrete bloody sweat to protect themselves from the sun. Hippos' skin produces a special reddish liquid that acts as sunscreen and has antiseptic properties. This bloody sweat not only protects hippos from harmful UV rays, but also helps heal wounds. In the wild, this feature makes hippos true survival experts who have found an amazing way to shield themselves from the sun. Did you know that lightning is hotter than the sun? The temperature of lightning can reach up to 30,000 degrees Celsius, which is 5 times hotter than the surface of the sun. This incredible natural phenomenon is one of the most powerful forces on Earth. When lightning strikes, it releases an enormous amount of energy in just a few milliseconds, heating the air around it to extreme temperatures. Lightning is truly nature's own flamethrower, bringing intense heat with every flash. Did you know the ancient Inca city could withstand earthquakes? Machu Picchu, the famous Inca city, was built using an ingenious technology that allowed it to withstand earthquakes. Located in a highly seismic zone, the Incas used a technique called ashlar masonry, where stones were so precisely cut that they fit together without mortar. During an earthquake, the stones could move slightly and then return to their original positions, keeping the structures intact. This brilliant engineering made the Incas true masters of ancient architecture. Who would have thought that King Louis XIV ruled for 72 years? Louis XIV, also known as the Sun King, holds the record for the longest reign in the history of monarchy. He ruled France for 72 years and 110 days, from 1643 to 1715. This incredible reign surpasses all other monarchs in history. During his time, France became the cultural heart of Europe, and Louis himself became the symbol of absolute power. Long live the king who ruled longer than any other. Can you imagine that fungi are closer to animals than plants? Believe it or not, fungi share a common ancestor with animals, dating back more than 1 billion years. Unlike plants, fungi are heterotrophs, which means they can't produce their own food through photosynthesis. Instead, they absorb nutrients from organic matter, just like animals. This makes fungi a unique form of life, existing somewhere between the plant and animal kingdoms. Fungi are nature's recyclers, breaking down dead matter and returning nutrients to the ecosystem. An endless chocolate bar? Illusion or reality? The illusion of an endless chocolate bar is a geometric trick that creates the impression that a bar of chocolate can regenerate itself infinitely. It's an ingenious visual illusion that tricks our minds into believing in mathematical magic. Unfortunately, this trick doesn't work with real chocolate bars. But wouldn't it be a dream come true if it did? What if I told you that you can boil water just by shaking it? Yes, it's true, although practically impossible to do. If you shake a container of water fast and hard enough, you can create friction, which will raise the water's temperature. Theoretically, if you shake it quickly enough, you could even bring the water to a boil. This unusual physics experiment shows how mechanical energy can be converted into heat. While you won't be making tea this way, the mere possibility that shaking could boil water is astonishing. Did you know that Neptune was discovered using math? Neptune is the only planet whose existence was predicted through mathematical calculations before it was seen through a telescope. In the 19th century, astronomers noticed that Uranus's orbit didn't match expectations, and they hypothesized that this was caused by the gravitational pull of an unknown planet. After calculations and extensive observation, Neptune was discovered, marking a triumph of science. This fact shows how powerful math is. It helped discover an entire planet long before it could be seen. Did you know there are eternal lightning storms on Earth? In Venezuela, there is a place called Catatumbo, where lightning strikes almost constantly. This unique natural phenomenon occurs at Lake Maracaibo, where lightning can be observed on up to 250 days each year. Known as the Catatumbo lightning storm, lightning can flash up to 280 times an hour. Scientists believe this is due to the region's unique topography, which creates perfect conditions for constant discharges. This location has become a major attraction for tourists and scientists from around the world. Can you imagine there's a bridge in Sweden that goes underwater? In Sweden, there is a unique bridge called the Öresund Bridge, which connects the country to Denmark. This bridge suddenly ends and dives underwater, turning into a tunnel. This engineering marvel was designed to avoid interfering with sea traffic. Driving from Sweden to Denmark gives the feeling that you're diving into the sea right in your car, adding an exciting element to the journey. Why do Japanese coins have holes in the middle? 5 and 50 yen coins with holes in the center can be found all over Japan, and it's not just for unique design. Historically, the holes allowed people to easily thread the coins on a string to carry them like a necklace, making transactions simpler. But that's not the only reason. These coins are believed to bring good fortune. Today, they are considered lucky charms, and many Japanese still carry them as tokens of good luck. Surprisingly, ancient mirrors were actually dangerous. Early mirrors were made from metals like copper or bronze, which could create blinding reflections and even accidental fires. In Roman times, convex mirrors that concentrated sunlight were popular, much like magnifying glasses. This made them both dangerous and expensive, accessible only to the wealthiest. Modern mirrors are safe, but ancient ones still hold a bit of magic and danger within them. Tiny plants, mighty power. Half of Earth's oxygen comes from the ocean. The oxygen we breathe is not only created by forests, but also by tiny marine organisms like plankton, algae, and seaweed. These little factories produce more than half of the planet's oxygen through photosynthesis. Thanks to sunlight, they transform carbon dioxide into oxygen, which is vital for all living beings on Earth. This amazing fact reminds us of the importance of the oceans and their role in sustaining life on our planet. It's hard to believe, but the Hercules beetle can lift 850 times its own weight. This incredible insect lives up to its mighty name. The Hercules beetle is capable of lifting loads that are 850 times heavier than its own body weight. With such astonishing strength, it's no wonder that this beetle stands as a symbol of nature's incredible feats of strength. The Hercules beetle is a true powerhouse in the insect world, showing that even the smallest creatures can perform extraordinary feats. The legend of the cookie, how Nestle got the recipe in exchange for chocolate. We all love chocolate chip cookies, but do you know how they became so popular? In the 1930s, Ruth Wakefield invented the famous Toll House chocolate chip cookie, but she didn't sell the recipe to Nestle. Instead, Ruth made a deal where Nestle would print her recipe on their chocolate bars, and in return, she received a lifetime supply of chocolate. That's how chocolate chip cookies became a worldwide favorite, and Ruth Wakefield's name went down in culinary history. Why is a group of owls called a parliament? Owls are often associated with wisdom, and perhaps that's why their collective noun is a parliament. This term is linked to ancient Greek and Roman myths, where owls symbolized knowledge and magic. The term gained popularity in English literature thanks to Chaucer's writings. Owls often gather as if they're deliberating, which resembles parliamentary meetings. These remarkable birds have keen vision and hearing, allowing them to hunt in the dark. So next time you see a group of owls, imagine them discussing the forest's most pressing matters at their owl assembly. Chocolate cosmos. Imagine a flower that smells like chocolate. The chocolate cosmos, Cosmos atrosanguineus, is a flower that might surprise you with its scent, reminiscent of real chocolate. This dark red flower, native to Central America, is so rare that it's almost extinct in the wild. Yet it continues to be cultivated in gardens worldwide to enjoy its unique aroma. Imagine strolling through a garden where, instead of floral scents, you breathe in the sweet, enticing smell of chocolate. It's nature's gift to those with a sweet tooth. Turtles. Ancient relics with armor from the past. Turtles are among the oldest reptiles on our planet. Their shells are not just armor, but part of their skeleton that has protected them for over 200 million years. They have witnessed dinosaurs come and go, survived ice ages and mass extinctions. Some species can live over 150 years, and leatherback turtles can weigh up to 900 kilograms. They can swim across oceans, covering thousands of kilometers in search of food. Turtles are true masters of survival, carrying their mystery and charm through the ages. Did you know that kangaroos have a spare pregnancy? Kangaroos have an amazing ability that's truly astonishing. Female kangaroos can delay the development of an embryo for several months if the conditions aren't favorable for the birth of a joey. This process is called embryonic diapause. Imagine that a kangaroo can literally put its pregnancy on hold if it's already caring for a young joey, or if there isn't enough food. When conditions improve, the embryo continues its development. This biological marvel helps kangaroos survive in Australia's harsh and unpredictable climate. Wow! Did you know that spiders can jump incredible distances? A jumping spider can leap up to 15 times its body length. This would be like a human leaping across a football field in one bound. These spiders use their back legs as springs, compressing them and then suddenly straightening to get a powerful push. Jumping spiders also have keen eyesight, allowing them to accurately target prey or safe landing spots, and even avoid predators. Did you know the world's oldest recipe is for beer? The oldest known beer recipe dates back to around 4,000 years before our era in ancient Sumeria. This ancient beer shows how long the tradition of brewing has been preserved. Sumerians brewed beer from barley, and this process was a key part of their culture for millennia. Who would have thought that the tradition of beer is so ancient and still thriving today? Hard to believe, but the largest iceberg was the size of Jamaica. The largest iceberg ever recorded broke off from the Ross Ice Shelf in Antarctica in 1986. It was about 280 kilometers long and 80 kilometers wide, making its area comparable to the size of Jamaica. This gigantic iceberg was so massive it could easily have housed entire cities. It drifted in the ocean for several years, slowly melting. Surprisingly, there's a town in Norway where every house stands on stilts. In Røros, Norway, almost all houses are built on wooden stilts. This ancient technique helps protect the buildings from moisture and snow. The historical center of the town is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. And today tourists come to see how ancient construction methods have remained relevant for centuries. This town stands as a living monument to how people adapted to the harsh conditions of the north. Hard to believe, but there's an underwater waterfall in the world. On the island of Mauritius in the Indian Ocean, there is a phenomenon that baffles even experienced travelers and scientists. Off the island's southwestern coast, you can witness an optical illusion of an underwater waterfall. It's not a real waterfall, but a natural phenomenon where sand and sediment, moved by currents, create the illusion of a waterfall plunging into the ocean depths. Due to the ocean floor's contours, it looks like water is cascading down into a giant abyss, though in reality, it's just an illusion. Yet this view is so mesmerizing that many tourists come to Mauritius just to see this extraordinary sight. Can you believe that a tick can dine for up to 10 days? Ticks are true masters of long feasts. These tiny parasites can stay latched onto their host for up to 10 days, feeding without interruption. Imagine a dinner that lasts not just a few hours, but almost an entire week. The tick literally buries itself into the feast, slowly but surely enjoying its meal. While the host may not even realize that someone is indulging in their blood, the tick is having the time of its life. These little gourmets are so adapted to slow eating that they can store nutrients and feed on them for a long time. Though it sounds unpleasant to us, for ticks, it's a gourmet experience. If there were a competition for slow eating, Ticks would surely be the champions. Why can you hear bridges in Italy? In Venice, some ancient bridges literally sing due to vibrations. In certain spots, plates are installed to create sounds when people walk on them. The effect is caused by resonance and the unique construction of the bridges. On a quiet night when the city sleeps, the bridges become musical instruments, played by tourists rather than musicians. These sounds give Venice a distinctive charm, echoing the city's long history. Amazingly, oysters can change their gender. Oysters possess an incredible ability to change gender based on their needs. Throughout their lives, they may become male or female multiple times, helping them adapt to their environment and reproduce more effectively. This flexibility is crucial in habitats with varying population dynamics, where these changes can greatly influence survival. Butterflies taste with their feet. Butterflies travel the world not just by flying but by walking on their food. They have taste receptors located right on their feet, giving them a sort of built-in gourmet GPS. These special sensors allow butterflies to quickly find the perfect leaves to lay their eggs. Imagine living in a world where you don't taste with your mouth but with your feet. Butterflies live in that curious reality every day. Did you know the largest diamond in the world weighed more than 3,000 carats? The Cullinan diamond, found in 1905 in South Africa, is the largest diamond ever discovered. It weighed a staggering 3,160 carats. This unique gem was divided into several pieces, some of which adorn the British royal regalia. This diamond is a true wonder of nature, and its size is simply breathtaking. How does a giant rubber duck travel around the world, gathering crowds of spectators? A massive inflatable duck, created by Dutch artist Florentine Hofmann, has become an international sensation. Standing over 15 meters tall, it has already floated through rivers and lakes in cities like London, Tokyo, and Sydney, sparking joy among children and adults alike. The duck symbolizes childhood and joy, and everywhere it goes, it's greeted like a celebrity. Some fans even follow it around the world just to see it in a new location. Did you know that 2–3% of people don't need deodorant? Yes, it's true. About 2–3% of the population has a genetic mutation that prevents the production of unpleasant body odor associated with sweating. These people can engage in sports and physical activity without worrying about body odor. This happens because they lack the necessary bacteria that break down sweat and create unpleasant smells. This discovery sheds light on the diversity of human genetics and how we perceive body odors. Did you know that the Tower of London was once bright white? In the Middle Ages, the Tower of London wasn't gray as it is today, but instead it was covered with a white plaster, earning it the nickname White Tower. At that time, white plaster symbolized strength and purity. Every few years, the tower was repainted to maintain its bright appearance. Over time, the coating wore away, and the tower became gray due to dirt and pollution. But once, it really was a gleaming white pearl on the London skyline. Did you know that there is a country where money is made of plastic? In Australia, all banknotes are made of polymer, not paper. This makes them much more durable and harder to counterfeit. Australian polymer money can last up to 2.5 times longer than paper notes, and can easily withstand humidity and even being submerged in water. In fact, due to this technology, plastic has become the currency material of choice for more than 30 countries. Additionally, Australian money can be cut in half, and each half is still considered legal tender until replaced. Why do snails bury themselves in the ground? The snails we often see after rain don't just dig into the soil for fun. It's their way of surviving extreme conditions. When it gets too hot or dry, snails create a special mucus plug to retain moisture in their bodies and bury themselves to endure the dry periods. This process, called estivation, is a type of summer hibernation that allows snails to survive harsh seasons. What is a clowder? Meet a group of cats. Have you ever wondered what a group of cats is called? It turns out the proper term is clowder. This quirky word is used to describe several cats gathered together. There are other terms like glaring or pounce for groups of cats, but clowder sounds especially charming. The next time you see a bunch of cats hanging out, you can impress everyone with your knowledge of this unusual term. Believe it or not, rats can laugh. Yes, you heard that right. Rats can laugh. Scientists have discovered that these cute rodents emit ultrasonic giggles when tickled. While humans can't hear these sounds, the rat's laughter has been recorded with special equipment and proved that rats can experience pleasure. This fact opens a new dimension in the study of animals' emotional worlds. Imagine, rats not only run through mazes but also have fun, just like we do. Who would have thought that rats could be so funny and emotionally responsive creatures?